What are 4 poses to do for anxiety and stress relief? Today, I am going to answer that for you. Welcome back to your yoga mat. Welcome back to your practice. Welcome back to my channel. I am Katie Arnold, yoga and meditation teacher, and I truly help you find that connection back to yourself and stress less. So this month that this video is coming out is April, and it is Stress Awareness Month. And so I am really planning our practices around helping us reduce our stress. Today we are focusing on 4 postures to help reduce stress. Prop-wise, what you're going to need is 1 block or something similar. If you happen to not have a block or anything that you can use in a replacement for that, it is going to be just fine. We're going to do a supported downward facing dog. And if you don't have a block, you're just not going to take it supported. If you have one though, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit interesting of a pose at first, but it is really great. Next, I'm going to have you grab a bolster. And if you don't have a bolster, grab a pillow or a couple of pillows from your bed. You could also grab a couch cushion, anything that will be soft and supportive, but also a little bit firm. So if you have really squishy pillows, stacking a couple on top of each other can be a nice replacement. So if you don't already have your props, go ahead and grab them, roll out your yoga mat if it's not already, and meet me right back here. All right, friends, so we're going to get started in that supported downward facing dog. Now, this is the most work that we're going to do for this entire practice today. And if you haven't done a supported downward facing dog before, it can be a little bit interesting or a little bit awkward at first. But once you can kind of find the space and find the comfort and the support within the posture, it's actually really lovely. So we're going to start by coming to that tabletop position and bring your block on the tallest height. You could also always grab a second block and stack them on top of each other. And then our hands are going to come in front of that block, curl the toes under, hips go up and back just like our downward facing dog. And then we're going to place that block right at the hairline. And so you might have to kind of walk the feet in a little bit. You might have to bring a little bend or maybe a big bend to those knees. And again, if that block is too far away, then maybe you stack a second block and just start to find the comfort. So if it takes a little bit of adjusting, finding the right hand placement for you, the right position of those feet, as much of a bend to the knees as you need to. And then start to settle in with your breath. Like I said, this is the most work that we're going to do at all for our practice today. And I know this supported downward facing dog can feel a little bit awkward. But maybe as you can focus on the inhales and the exhales, you find the support within the posture. You find the ease within the little bit of work that's here as well. And maybe you also think about any of the stress, any of the worries that have been bubbling up to the surface that have led you to this practice today. Maybe you can think about them pouring out of your head right now. And maybe that sounds a little bit graphic, but I want you to think about all of those things just releasing from your body, letting them float down to the mat beneath you, allowing the earth to soak them up, knowing that nature has the ability to rework that stress. And even if it's just for the length of this practice that you get that relief of it leaving your body, then that's just a little bit more time, a little bit more ease that you get, right? So sometimes our stressors aren't something that we can just leave behind and have a quick fix. But practices like this, visualizations like this, they can give us even temporary relief. And maybe when we get out of this practice or get out of whatever practices we may be doing to help release some of our stress, we're a little bit more level-headed. Our minds are a little bit clearer to see the steps forward, to see the steps to take to get us to the next place. And so just sit with that. Let's take 5 more breaths. And softening the knees down to the mat. Let's take 1 round of cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, round the spine, bring the chin to your chest. And back through our tabletop position. And we're going to use our bolster for this next one. I'll give you a couple options. I'm going to use my block as well. I'm going to place it up towards the top of my mat at the lowest setting. And then I'm going to take that bolster and I'm just creating a little low ramp here. You can obviously take that block up to a higher height to have a higher ramp, but then bringing the right hip just a couple inches away from the edge of that bolster. Start to twist to the right, twist towards that bolster. We're going to start to walk our hands down, allowing ourselves to rest down on that bolster, bringing that right ear down to rest. And I like to hug my hands around that block, taking just a gentle twist here. Again, thinking about releasing any of that stress that you may be holding on to in the physical body. Almost like the idea of twisting out a washcloth and then allowing that water from the washcloth to go down the drain. We are gently twisting the spine, releasing some of that stress, allowing it to melt down into the earth. Take 5 more breaths on this side. And place your hands on either side of the ramp and press yourself up. We'll just swing it to the other side. So that left hip will come just a couple inches away from the edge of your bolster. Start to twist towards that bolster and walk the hands down, allowing the chest to rest. Left ear can come down. Finding this gentle twist, softening into it, allowing this bolster to be supportive for you, to be a soft place to land. Final few breaths. And pressing yourself back up. All right. Our next posture is going to use a wall. If you don't have a wall, you can use the edge of a couch or a chair, or even just use your bolster or your block. So I'll first talk you into how to get into a legs up the wall if you are just using a bolster or a block, and then I'll show you how to get into it with the wall space. So if you're using a bolster or a block, you're going to come all the way down onto your back, walk your feet in, and then press into the feet, lift the hips up, and first coming into a supported bridge pose. So obviously you could stay right here if this feels good. Otherwise, if you want to come into the legs up variation, you're just going to hug the knees into your chest and then send the legs up. The support of that bolster or the block beneath you will help ease some of the discomfort that can come from having your legs up, and just take some support in this posture. So this is option one. If you have a wall space available, you could always soften your surface with a blanket or something. Otherwise, I like to get as close to the edge of the wall as I can. And I get onto one side. For me, it's easier to do this from the left side, and I'll slide all the way down. And then I can just kick my legs or windmill my legs up. And then once I get there, scooch the booty in a little bit closer. It's a little awkward getting into a legs up posture for sure for all of us. So find whichever variation is going to work best for you today. Allow your arms to rest down beside you in any capacity. Those palms can face up or down, whatever feels good. Having palms up can be an act of receiving. And having palms down can be an act of grounding. And so I just want to invite you to tune into yourself. What feels most supportive here? Do you need a little bit more grounding? Do you feel like your thoughts are slipping away from you or spinning away from you? Then maybe you want to take those palms down and kind of ground yourself a little bit more. Or if you find yourself in a place of maybe looking for a little bit more guidance on what those next steps are, you're feeling the stress of just not really knowing the path forward, then maybe you want to flip the palms up. Open yourself up to receiving guidance, to receiving support. And if none of that lands for you, then just do what feels best in your physical body, right? This practice is individual to each of us. And if you're comfortable with it, you can close the eyes down all the way. Maybe you just take your gaze down the tip of your nose, slowly turning the gaze inward. Allowing that breath to flow gently. Three more breaths. So wherever you are, start to bring the knees into your chest. If you were up against the wall, just roll onto one side, coming into a fetal position. If you came to it from a supported bridge, start to slide that bolster out from underneath the hips and then roll onto one side. And then we can all gently press ourselves up. We're going to come into our final posture, though not necessarily a posture. We're going to come into some breath work. So coming into a seat, any seat that feels good. You can elevate the hips. I'm going to do so by sitting on the edge of a block. You could sit on the edge of a blanket or your bolster. And we're going to do Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. This is one of my favorite practices, one of my favorite breathwork practices, one of my favorite practices for reducing stress in general. Nadi Shodhana has so many great benefits aside from just alleviating or helping reduce stress and anxiety. So I highly recommend you click the link below. I'll leave some additional research on or additional benefits in the description. But to do this, the name is just as it sounds, alternate nostril breathing. So we are going to breathe in through one side of our nose and then breathe out the other. We will then breathe in through that opposite side, close it off, and breathe out the other. So we will take that back and forth. I'll walk you through a few rounds on your own. And as you're ready at any point, you might start to take this practice on your own, not worrying so much about letting me guide you. So we're going to take our right hand and it's going to block off the right nostril, and then the ring and pinky finger will block off the left. That then leaves our pointer and middle finger, which I'll give you two options. You can either fold them down to the palm, Or what I actually prefer to do is take them to my third eye, that space between the eyebrows, and then I just find that to be a really grounding anchor point. So finding your position, we'll start by bringing the right thumb to block off the right nostril, and then inhale through the left. Close the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale right, close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale right. Close it off, open the left, exhale. Inhale left. Close it off, open the right, exhale here. Inhale right. Close and exhale left. Keep going on your own. Take one more round and we'll end exhaling on the left side. When you've completed your Nadi Shodhana, you can just release that hand down. And just take a few moments to allow the breath to be easy. And I want you just to notice what you notice. Notice how the body feels. Notice how the mind feels. Noticing where your soul and spirit are at. My hope for you is, even just in this short practice, even just with these 4 poses, you've been able to release some of that stress. You've been able to come back to a place of a little bit more center and ease, a place of a little bit more connection to yourself. As you're ready, inhale, sweep those arms out nice and wide. Let your palms meet overhead. Exhale, pull your hands down through heart center, pulling all that goodness into your heart space. Take a big breath in together. And let it go. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you found some connection from this practice today, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. If you are not already, like this video, comment below, let me know how this practice went for you. And if you don't already have my free simple practice for stress relief, it's a great accompaniment to this class. It's a guided meditation for letting go and a journal prompt to go with it. So this is a great opportunity to just slide right into that practice. The link for that is also in the description below. And that's all for today. I will meet you on your mat for your next practice.